and welcome to Labor Lens, where we bring to you updates information in the world of work and pay. I am Sharon Ijason. This week we are going to continue on the series on the plight of workers in Kaduna State, with special focus on the 4,000 local government workers who lost their job recently. But before we continue, let's take the news. We will be right back.
The Kaduna State chapter of the Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT) has called off the indefinite strike action it embarked upon on the 8th of January 2018 over the sack of about 22,000 teachers by the state government. Teachers in the state had embarked on the strike action to express their grievances over the sack of 21,780 teachers who were said to have failed a primary 4 exam conducted to test their competency by the state government. The 10-day strike had grounded academic activities in public primary and secondary schools in the state as students were stopped from going to school, while the union also barred teachers from teaching. The state governor, Malam Nasser El-Rufai, had announced a second chance for teachers who failed the competency test to reapply under the State Universal Basic Education Board (SUBE) program of continuous recruitment. While the state wing executive of NUT commended the decision of the governor, it assured of improved service delivery in the state public schools.
The state government, after a meeting with the interim chairman and education secretaries of the 23 local governments, has decided to give the 21,780 teachers who did not pass the recent competency test another opportunity for consideration under the State Universal Basic Education Board (SUBEB). In the light of the above, SWEC resolved to incorporate the gesture of the Kaduna State government by reciprocate the gesture of the Kaduna State government by calling off with immediate effect the indefinite strike action embarked upon by teachers in the public primary and secondary school in Kaduna State.
The civil society group and also the Nigerian Labour Group held a meeting in Lagos to restate the need for workers and citizens to come together and fight against the proposed planned increase in electricity tariff. The increase, according to stakeholders in the power sector, will be 60.5%. Convener of the meeting, Toluwa Debi, insists that the workers and Nigerians will hold series of mass protests and other stiff measures to ensure the increase in electricity tariff does not occur. They also called on government to ensure that there are sufficient prepaid meters in the country to curb the trend of estimated billings.
The plan 61.5 tariff hike in electricity is totally unacceptable to Nigerians because it's largely unaffordable. That is one. Amidst this tangled web of biting economic recession, it is totally unaffordable. Most Nigerian electricity consumers, they have not been metered. Contrary to the MOU between federal government and the private sector, when the privatization took effect on 1st November 2013, there is this MOU that within 18 months of taking off, that all consumers must be metered. Till now, most Nigerian electricity consumers, they are yet to be metered.
It's high time we stop this incessant increment in tariff. In fact, as a matter of fact, they have stated that they are going to be doing that every year. A minor ones every 6 months, biannually, then major ones every year. And we suspect that very soon, the vast majority won't be able to afford electricity any longer. And that's where they are taking us to. Perhaps because they know they don't have electricity for everybody. So they want to limit electricity to those who can pay exorbitantly.
Kaduna is the state capital of Kaduna State in northwestern Nigeria. It is a major commercial center and a strategic transportation hub for the surrounding agrarian cities with its rail and road networks. The 2006 Nigerian census puts its population figure at 760,000. Rapid urbanization over the past years has boosted its population, and now it is estimated to be above 1.3 million. The state was once known for vibrant textile factories, but things have changed badly. It is now almost mainly a civil service state. During my stay in Kaduna, residents and workers had mixed feelings about the government of the state, especially when it comes to issues of their welfare. In 2 previous episodes on Labor Lens, we analyzed the issue of the sack of more than 22,000 teachers and other civil servants in the state. On November 28, 2017, the Kaduna State Government, through the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, announced the disengagement of more than 4,000 local government staff across the 23 local government areas of the state.
The exercise is nothing other than corrective measures to position or to reposition the local governments to serve the people better. Only Bunungwari local government is healthy. All other local governments need one intervention or the other to remain afloat. So as far as government is concerned, government has really fulfilled that at least obligation.
When I visited the local government council in Kaduna State, workers who were either sacked or retired were seen loitering about the secretariat. I asked Ahmed Sani, who according to many is hardworking. The 37-year-old tells me how he is faring as he described himself as a young retiree.
I've been working for 21 years now. So I've been retired by the executive governor of the state. So I'm a young retiree now. The most problem I have in this exercise was we don't know the parameter this governor have used based on the selection that he made, because we still have some time to do more based on our executive functions, but he retired us, so we don't know why. We don't know why. The most important thing is the parameter. Which parameter did he use? If, for instance, he used parameter of cut-off score mark on the education sector, education side. So we, the local government workers, we don't know the parameter he used, because they have sacked the qualified people. The unqualified people are fully remain in the local government system now. So we don't know how much you will get to do it at the near future time.
When I interviewed other sacked local government workers, they claimed they were unduly sacked as relevant labor laws guiding redundancy were not observed before the state government carried out the mass sack. They claimed after working for about 10 years, they went home without any gratuity or any dime paid.
This His Excellency brought a circular that he only needs 235 people that are going to work in the secretariat, which are also affected. We have been given our retirement letter. We don't know anything. My time for retirement is not due. I was given a composite retirement. I was not given enough money. The basic salary, my salary, is supposed to collect 31,000 naira. Now I will post it. My money has been posted into bank. It's 20,000 for the 3 months. That is 60,000. How will I start business with this? How will I start? Where will I start? I don't have any other things that I know right from when I started my working. This is what I know.
Many of the retired or sacked local government workers here want a redress of their termination of appointment, as the times are hard and there are no jobs for them to do now.
To me, I don't see them going anywhere, because in the Kaduna State now, in terms of Kaduna State, if you go to all this southern Kaduna, we used to know southern Kaduna as a very industrial area. If you go there, you see all these textiles, so many companies, Nest company, all these fertilizer, so many companies. Even then, as of back 2000, if you go to that area, if you don't even have any job, you can go there and do some casual work. There you make your daily money. But now, Kaduna that we know there is not Kaduna that we know now. So those people that are sacked now, one, they are not into business. If it's they are sacking them, they are not into business, they are not to handwork. What they do is this work, and they are used to that salary. So to me, it's like killing them totally. And those kind of people now, after sacking them, because they said Haiduma is a devil workshop. So if they see another means, maybe by carrying arms or anything, they will do it because they don't have any means to make money. And most of them have families to cater for. They have people that are depending on them. They are like transformers to other people. They draw life for some people. Because one way or the other, when they collect their salary, maybe one of their family members will be depending one way or the other on them. So I don't see, it's not the right thing for now.
Sacking of 21,817 teachers in Kaduna, that is not the way. It's going to affect a lot of people. It's going to affect a lot of children and family. It's going to affect a lot of parents. By sacking those people, that's a lot of people. What do you expect them to go and do? That is the profession. Because in teacher, if you are a teacher, you have the professor. You don't have anything. So those are the people that if you sack them, a lot of people then will be suffering. A lot of people will continue suffering. Out of one teacher, he may have 4 children, training them. What do you expect him to do? So I don't advise the government. There should be another way around that he can do to teacher, not sacking, because it's going to affect a lot of people.
I personally will support any local government reform if that's the best thing. If they are overstaffed, because I was meant to understand that most of the local governments cannot pay their staff, in spite of the fact that government still remits 10% of the internally generated revenue to the local government, coupled with what is coming from the federal allocation. They could not still meet up. So I think they should go ahead and rationalize the staffs at the local government.
On the profile interview segment this week, I spoke with the president of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees. He tells me what the union plans to do to ensure that workers' rights are protected. Join me. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
A lot has been said about the sacked workers in Kaduna State. We're very much aware that more than 4,000 local government workers were sacked recently by the Kaduna State government. Was Nolge presidency carried along before this act was carried out?
Well, I want to say sincerely that Governor S. Rufai's approach to governance is different from other governors. This is somebody that lives in a different cloud entirely, because he believes so much in himself. He believes he's too intelligent, he's too smart, and he can get away with whatever he wants to do. And the truth is that Rufai is not connected with people. And that is why he cannot understand the feelings of the people when you talk of disengaging somebody from his work. And he also, sincerely, in my own assessment, lacks clear vision as a governor, what you want to achieve, because governance is different from being in private sector. He is heading a public affairs now. He should be able to at least change from a private person to a public officer. In public administration, all you are doing is about people. It's not about interest. It's not about profit, I mean. But Rufai's approach, sincerely, is purely anti-people.
So are you saying that the union, that the state government did not carry the union along before this act was carried out?
He doesn't carry anybody along in whatever he's doing. Not only Nolge. He doesn't believe that other people are even human beings. That is Rufai for you.
So if you agree now that the state government did not follow due process before sacking these workers, are there any plans by Norgate to carry this matter to court? Are you taking this to court?
We are already in the court. Even before he started issuing the disengagement letter, we rushed to court because we know the kind of person he is. El-Rufai is somebody that doesn't listen. When he governed Kaduna State with a mindset. Even before his election, he has a mindset on governance. So as you can see, he was there not because of the people of Kaduna State. So when we got the wind that he was planning to reorganize local government, we were not comfortable with that. At that stage, we quickly rushed to court, challenging the action, because workers deserve respect, because workers are not slaves. And we are in service under some conditions, laid down procedure and guidelines. And the process or the management of staffers in public service is guided by the provision of the scheme of service. We have a scheme of service of a local government.
From my observation, I spoke to some workers affected, and they tell me that they were paid 3 months in lieu of notice. Some of them said they were owed salaries before now, and some probably have taken loans from the bank. So they claim that the money that the government paid as payoff for them is money for work done.
Yeah, exactly.
So in other climes, if you want to sack people because they are redundant, there are processes that you have to follow, and if the government says they want them to go, most times they have a lump sum of money to start life all over again. What's your take on this?
What I want you to understand is that in all the entirety of what Kaduna State government is doing is wicked. It's wickedness. Some of these workers, as you are trying to testify, based on your interaction with some of them, they have not been getting their salaries for some good number of months before this exercise came. Now you decided to disengage them on your own without recourse to the status books. And you quickly, because you think you are clever, trying to satisfy some of the prohibitions in the book, you abandon. The statute book you abandon when you want to disengage them. Because where did he get this issue of giving them 3 months in lieu of notice? It's from the scheme of service. Why did El-Rufai choose to use some part of the scheme of service of workers in disengaging them and not to use the other part of the scheme of service? The process and procedure for disengagement was not followed. You can only disengage workers based on their performance. But what he was saying was that he declares them surplus. And in the first place even, is El-Rufai the employer of local government workers? The issue is very clear, he is not. We have 2 categories of workers in local government, because what we are practicing in Nigeria today is what we call unified local government service. And under unified local government service, we have 2 categories of workers. First categories are grade level 1 to 6, which are the prerogative of each individual local government to employ, based on the provisions as enshrined in the scheme of service. And one of the conditions must be that you have adequate provisions in your budget to employ. So the employer of grade level 1 to 6 are the individual local government. And they are not the one deciding their fate now. It's somebody somewhere that assumes the responsibility of others.
which takes me back to the fight for local government autonomy. I know that there's been a lot of agitations from your end on the need for local government to be independent. With this experience in Kaduna, and also from my experience speaking with some of the disengaged workers, there are some of these workers that most of their jobs are being done by the state governments, which is not supposed to be done ideally, because there are provisions for them to have a workplace in the local government, and there are some duties that they have to carry out to ensure that there is enough development in the local government. So I would like to take you back to the fight for local government autonomy and why you think it's essential at this point for it to be gone.
Well, we have been going in almost everywhere in Nigeria, canvassing the support particularly of the legislators and other stakeholders to see how local government in Nigeria could be organized through constitutional amendment, because the level of encroachment into the exclusive preserves of local government is killing the local government system. And to the extent, as workers in local government, we become so worried that simple service delivery we were employed to deliver, we could no longer deliver them. Not because we don't have the capacity to do it, but because somebody somewhere usurps the functions of local government to his advantage. And I also want to take you back a little. El-Rufai should also remember that during his campaign tour within Kaduna State, he was the first APC flag bearer that promised and assured his electorate that as soon as he was given the mandate, the first thing he will do is to ensure that local governments are free. And with what he is doing today, is he freeing local government or is he bastardizing them more? The issue is that he is bastardizing them. And if El-Rufai is saying he is doing what he is doing because the number of staff in Kaduna are much, what would you say about a state like Kebbi? Almost the same number of local government with Kaduna, and almost triple in number the number of local government workers.
There are no industries, there are no jobs, there are no factories. We know that Kaduna used to be a state whereby we have textile industry boom. What are your fears for these workers owing to the fact that you know that they will be out of job and there will be practically nothing for them to do?
That is why I told you Governor El-Rufai is very insensitive, because he failed to understand that disengaging workers en masse at this critical time of our economic crisis, where the country is wallowing in serious, security challenges, will never solve our problem. He should understand, as I said from the beginning, public governance is different from managing a private affairs. He's now a public officer. He must connect his thoughts with people he may consider as nothing. Those non-entities, he believes they don't have anything in their head. He must connect with them, because that is the essence of governance. And that is what he is missing in his head.
The Labour Act was not followed during this process. Would you say as a leader that you've protected the workers so far? If yes, if no, what are the plans to protect these workers? Because there might be more coming.
The truth is that the entire process is rejected by our union. There is nothing good about it in the face of law. Socially, it lacks merit. And politically, it lacks merit. Because APC as a party promised Nigerians only three things: revamping the economy, and under revamping the economy, they assured Nigerians that they will create more jobs for them, not disengaging those that are already employed by the other parties.
So what is the union going to do to protect these workers? What are the steps that you want to take?
One, we are already in the courts, seeking for court intervention to redress this. Secondly, as a union, we are planning so many actions alongside with other unions that are affected under the umbrella of NLC and TUC. National Executive Council had already resolved and endorsed in totality the decision of the National Executive Council of NLC. And we agreed to mobilize in mass our members from 774 local governments to Kaduna when the date was set aside.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of Labor Lens. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the program. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember, labor creates wealth.